Hello, everyone, and peace of Christ to all of you. Today, our topic is very important, and we will make a series of it. And you will notice right away that our chat is not activated because I noticed there's many people they are just coming to chit chat and not just to waste our time and not really to be joining for the purpose of learning or education. And many even they use bad language and they insult each other. So we will keep it for such a way for some time until maybe we have enough admins to maintain the text. Today our topic is about the purpose of the Quran. There's tons of articles speaking about the purpose of the Quran. Or let us say, at the end of the day, the purpose of the Quran is the purpose of Islam, right? And the Muslims, they have articles to help us, and we are thankful for their articles. To tell us what is the purpose of Islam or what is the purpose of the Quran. And here in front of me, this is one of those articles. I will share it with you. Give me a second. Mr. Sohaib Sultan. I just searched in the internet. I mean, I don't know who is this person. 5 Purpose of the Quran by Mr. Sohaib Sultan. Quran for Dummies. Cheat sheet. Okay. As holy book of Islam, the Quran informs millions of Muslims around the world. The book itself serves 5 essential purposes. Okay, let us see what they are. The guidance. Okay, what kind of guidance? The Quran serves as guide to believe in the oneness of God and to lead the ethical life, defend as submission or surrender to the will of Allah, the God of Islam. This is complete way of life and offer guidance. When Muslims they say complete way of life, as an example, okay, if I ask a Muslim where we can find in the Quran the punishment of rape, you see, when you say complete guide of life, it means nothing there is missing. Whatever I need, it's there in the book. But not a single verse in the Quran is speaking about very important ugly crime a human being he do. He does before, he does now, he will do tomorrow. Rape. There is no punishment for rape. This is a very little simple, which is a huge. Because if your God, he made a book, and this book supposedly is perfect, and yet there is nothing about rape and abusing women in such a way, it's a crime, ugly crime, or even raping children. Actually, the Quran is an empty book. So I'm really surprised when Muslims they say to us what they say in their article, a full way of life. And then they say to you, oh, we can find you things from the hadith. Well, find me something from the hadith about rape. I will be happy to hear it. But if you find something ever, that means the Quran is not the book of guide of life. It means the Quran cannot stand by itself. It means Allah did not really teach Muhammad anything, and Muhammad he have to complete what Allah he did not or he did miss. So the Quran is a big failure in every way and every mean. The Muslim today they practice a punishment is called stoning to death, but we cannot find that in the Quran. So they are basing their religion in a man saying, not God saying. They claim that the Quran is God saying and Muhammad saying is a man saying, but yet we find that they follow what Muhammad say over what Allah say. The Quran says you do mut'ah, which is very unethical, where you can rent a woman for one night stand and you pay her for taking off her clothes, or even for 1 hour. And then they say, there's a hadith says that the Prophet abrogate those verses. How can God be abrogated by a man? If God he gave the order, how a man can fix God order? Isn't it? This is the God you are saying that the Quran, as you see in the article, the Quran, the purpose of the Quran. So you should not say we live by the purpose of the Quran. We should say we live by the purpose of the hadith, which is Muhammad's statement, not Allah's statement. Because in order for a prophet to abrogate the word of God, he should receive word from God to abrogate the word of God, higher authority. You don't abrogate the higher authority by a lower authority. That is a funny thing and funny ideology. And if you say to me that Muhammad he got the authority from God to do that, show me. Show me where Allah said to him, Muhammad abrogate this verse. Because how Muhammad he knew he should abrogate that verse? He should receive an inspiration from Allah, and that will be Quran. And as we know, Muhammad, he never received any inspiration from Allah. What we know, there's a guy, his name is Jibreel. He come to Muhammad as a man and he delivers to him messages. However, today our topic is really not exactly this, but this is a presentation to the failure of everything in this cult. Now, the Quran distinguishes between moral and immoral, and today we will talk about that in a very simple method, and we will start talking about the family. Is it moral for a man to have many wives? A Muslim will say to you, do you know how many David in the Bible have, who said that David was doing a moral work? This is not moral. Actually, David is everybody knows he was obviously he was like a womanizer man. He was a sinner man. He was a bad person, and the Bible condemned him for that. So when we say morality, what is morality? Having more than one woman, 2 women, 3 women, 4 women, is that my morality? Or having children as a spouse? The Prophet of Islam, as an example, he did marry Aisha at the age of 6 years old. How that can be morality? Where is the moral of a man who is at the age of 54, yet he wanna have a little child in his bed? I don't see morality in this morality. Is that moral? A man should think about a female. That's normal. God, he made us male and female, and male, he like female for a reason, for she is a female, obviously. We do not need to explain. But where is the female in 6 years old baby? How he even saw it as saw her as a female? She is just a child. So the moral, of what they bring to us is a crime. If Muhammad arrived to any airport today and he have a wife with him, she is 6 years old, he will be arrested immediately, and his name will be in every newspaper. 54 years old, 6 years old baby child, honeymoon trip to England, arrested in the airport. Why they will arrest him? Because this is immoral, because this is unethical, not because it's the opposite. And then they will say to you, well, at that time it was fine. Well, at that time it was fine to commit a crime against a child? And where is your God? I thought your God, he guide you. Child is a child. Aisha, according to the hadith, which is written by the Muslims, and Aisha herself reported that until the age of 14 she don't have her period, and she was playing with dolls. When Muhammad he entered upon her net, he found her when she was almost 14 at that time, playing with dolls. And those dolls, she called them in Arabic banati, which mean my daughters. My daughters. In the translation we find that those translation is gone. They say the word doll only, so they took the word banati, because it's very embarrassing that supposedly the wife of the Prophet calling her dolls my daughters. How that can be? Then we go to the Quran. Forget about Muhammad now. What about the Quran? Did the Quran give us any guideline to be moral people, to be good people? Chapter 4, verse number 3. It says, if you fear that you cannot deal fairly with the orphan girls. Okay, hold on. What? Okay, sound good. Like, I mean, if you cannot deal, why orphan girls specifically? What about girls? The Quran encouraging us to marry orphan children, because as you see, it says girls. This is a Muslim translation, by the way, not mine. So don't blame me for a translation. Don't say, oh, this is a, this is your Muslim translation. I have nothing to do with it. This is your Islamic website, very well known. I have nothing to do. I'm just reading for you what is in the screen. Okay. So if you cannot be fairly dealing with the orphan girls, okay, how fairly? Marrying children again, an orphan. So I cannot be good to the orphan unless I sleep with the orphan. Is that what ethic today is? In order to be good to the orphan, I have to sleep with the orphan. So if the orphan did not go to my bed, I will not give him a sandwich, or her. Now you may marry of women of your choice, 2 or 3 or 4. The Quran never start with one. The option have to be from the multi wives, and then, but if you fear that you might not to be able to treat them equally, then only one. Any Muhammadan is watching this, he will say to you, well, don't you see he is saying if you fear not to treat them equally? Okay, so let us take this as an ethical standard, that if I can treat women equally, then I can marry women of my choice, 2 and 3 and 4, whatever. But is it possible to treat women equally? Any Muslim who have no idea what we are talking about, he will say yes. Well, guess what? The same chapter say no. The same chapter say no. It is mission impossible. So why you marry them? You see, I just open another page so I can show you right away. Chapter 4 verse number 3 says, go and do. By the way, it doesn't say marry. This is a translation of the Muslims. The word here even did not use the word marry. It says fankihu, which means do the you know, the effort, physical action. So do the F thing to 2 and 3 and 4. And if you cannot be fairly, then fawahida, which means only one. But in verse number 4, verse 129, it says you cannot be, and you will never be able to treat your wife equally. Okay, hold on. What kind of God this God is? In one verse he says that you can have multi wives if you treat them equally. Okay, is that a statement with the stop sign saying, which means don't do it, like don't multiply your wife? No, the Muslim, they practice that. Muhammad, he have many wives. He have 13 according to Muslims, and hundreds of or thousands of sex slaves. So how you say to me in one verse you can have sex with 2 and 3 and 4, but if you cannot be able to be treated them equally, then only one. In the same Quran you say to me in the same chapter verse 129, and you will never be able to treat them in equal fairness. Never. If Allah say never, that's mean never. Correct, Muslims? You know, don't tell me Allah he is saying maybe some of you can do it, some of you cannot. He says you will never. He's speaking to all the Muslims. But look what happened. Muhammad, because he's a hypocrite man, if you read the verse before it, Muhammad, he says, if a woman she fear ill treatment from her husband, they can come to an agreement. This is what I was about a Sauda, a wife. Her name is Sauda. She became old and not good looking for Muhammad. Sorry to say the word, but this is how it is described in this in the Sahih al-Bukhari, in the Sahih Muslim, and all this, the Sunni Muslim hadith. So Muhammad, he wanted to divorce this woman because he don't like her. He don't sleep with her. She is old, and he don't like old women, obviously. So Aisha, she gave her an idea. I will talk to the Prophet, and you give me your day, which means the day of Sauda, because the Prophet, he used to divide his days between the wives. But anyway, he don't sleep with this woman. So she said to her, I will convince him. You know, he cannot resist my temptation. I am the young one, and I can convince him to keep you without divorce, but he will not come to you. He will not see you. He will not talk to you. He will not sleep with you. If you agree to give me your day. The woman, she said sure, because the woman now she is fearing she will be homeless. She is old, nobody will marry her. So for the sake of her security, so just to eat bread and have a roof in the top of her head by being the wife of the Prophet, even though she is not literally or technically a wife no more. She agreed. So Muhammad, as usual, he make a verse says that if a woman fear her husband, and the Arabic here it says وَإِنْ إِمْرَأَ خَافَتْ مِنْ بَعْلِهَا نُشُوذًا. The word nushuz here present what? You see, the same word in the Quran appear in the same chapter, chapter 4, verse number 34. The same chapter says if a man he see from his wife nushuz, he can beat her. The same book. So if a man he do nushuz to the women she cannot beat him. She can have an agreement that the man he will not divorce her, or as he wish, which means he keep her like a like a piece of furniture in the house. I will not touch. We just sit there. Maybe you wash the dishes. You make hummus for us. I will go to the bedroom with Aisha and you make hummus for us. So when we finish our business, we eat hummus. So if a woman should practice nushuz, and this is what the translation here coming with, ill treatment, the man he can beat his wife. The man he can beat his wife. Okay, in which ethical religion, in which ethical teaching, a man he can beat his wife? What is the ethic of me beating my wife, and what that will fix? And why, if the man he do himself the nushuz, the woman she cannot beat him? But if the man, notice nushuz, the same word exactly, you know, let me show you. Here we go. I will go back, chapter 4, verse number 34, the same chapter, the same page, you know, the same exact word. All right. Men are in charge of women, but let me show you the word first in Arabic. Here we go. The word nushuz. You see it? Nushuz. Exactly the same word. What nushuz mean? If you fear that your women they have nushuz, beat them. Stop sleeping with them, admonish them, and scourge them. So how come the man he do nushuz, the woman she cannot beat the husband, but if the women do nushuz, the man he can beat the wife? So this is the ethic of Islam, and this is how we can establish a good family. And here some Muslim they will say to you the word nushuz mean adultery. I just showed you the verse before this one. This is about your Prophet himself committing nushuz. And what nushuz? He don't like his wife no more. As simple as that. So if a woman she have nushuz, maybe she just like to sleep with him, or maybe she just like to you know, sit with him, or everything. Beat them. So this is the wisdom and the wise Quran. The Quran says if a man he do nushuz, the man he can do whatever he wish. The women she have to be subdued, and the man he can come to an agreement. Okay, I will keep you in my house, but you do this and this and this. But if the women she do the same act with his nushuz, which is ill treatment, as the translation come with in English, the man he can beat his wife. So where is the ethical? And here we need to ask a question more than just an ethical. You see, sometimes we do things maybe it's not ethical to fix a problem. I'm trying just to be practical. Forget about God, being a Christian, being Muslim, being Hindu, being I want to be an atheist for 5 minutes. So let us say the ethic thing is not in my book, and I want to fix a problem. How in the world I'm going to fix a problem by beating my wife? Is that going to make my life better? Is that going to make my life happy? Is that going to make my life and my children respect me? Or they will hate me? When a child he see his dad beating his mother, trust me, he will hate you. Maybe by time he forgive you, but still you are an ugly person in his eye. So this is a big failure. What kind of an ethic and what kind of religion is saying to me, well, beat your wife in order to make her obey you? You see, the purpose is not is not even anything except making her obey me. Read carefully, admonish them and banish them in the bed part. And I'm reading exactly the Muslim translation. I'm not adding a word. And scourge them. Then if they obey you, seek not a way against them. So what is the purpose of the beating? Making my wife obey me. So in Islam, the ethic of Islam is teaching us that beating women is ethical, humiliating women is ethical, forcing women against their will is ethical. And that means I can beat my wife. If you know, if I can beat my wife for not making coffee for me, that means I can beat my wife if she don't want to take off her panty for me, and then rape her, because this would be a rape. This is why you will see nothing in Islam is called raping a woman she is married by the husband. Such a crime does not exist, because it is his right. And Muhammad, he taught us more ethic about this issue, where he said that if a man he asked his wife to come to bed, let us see the hadith, and she did not come, the angels of Allah will curse her all night. Look at this hadith in front of us. Look at the ethic. The Messenger of Allah said, when a man call his wife to satisfy his desire, she must go to him even if she was occupied with the oven. You know that in old days they make that the tanur is like is an old style of using the dung of animals to make bread. This is the duty of the women. But remember here, the man, the Muslim man, he had many wives. So if one of them, she is busy doing the house, what kind of marriage this marriage is? What this woman she is required to do? So she have to feed the man, she have to cook for the man, she have to clean dishes, she have to clean the house, she have to take care of the kids, she have to give him babies, and then anytime he asks her to take off her clothes, even if she is making a bread will be burned, she have to leave and come immediately. Is that the ethic? In the other hadith, Muhammad says if a woman she did not go, the angels of Allah will curse her. And then when we speak about beating women, some Muslim they will say to you, well, do you know what kind of beating we are talking about? We are talking about beating by miswak. Let me find you the miswak in Google, so you will see exactly what we are talking about. They try to convince you that the miswak is little tiny thing in the hand like a toothbrush. The miswak is a very long root, and the reason is used there because it is the same tool they use it to beat the camel with it. This is the miswak after they cut it off into pieces. You see it? This is the miswak. This is not the real miswak, which mean it is short. They cut it off, you can tell, see the edge of the knife, they cut it off, or so this is not the whole length of it, it's long. But they say to you, it's easy. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's a miswak. This is very harmful. Very long root is used to beat the women with it. And as you see, the Quran confirmed that the purpose of this beating is to force the women to obey you, which means this beating have to be harmful to the point will make you change your mind, choosing between pain and freedom of choice. And here, not only the purpose of the Quran proving a big failure, the purpose of having a family proving the big failure, because what kind of a family? It says go and have 4 women. Where is the family in this 4 women? Especially those 4 women, I can change them every day. I can exchange every day unlimited number of women. And I changed it in Muslim to say it's not true. Because all what you need to do, you are allowed to have 4 women in the same time. Four women in the same time. So I can divorce every minute 4 and get a new 4. The women in the same time, the women, they cannot go and get married after I divorce them. They have to wait for 3 months. So while the women, she have to wait for 3 months after I divorce her, the man, he can get married immediately for another 4 women. So if you are a rich man live in the Middle East, you can marry unlimited number of women as much as you wish, legally, officially, and nobody will accuse you of anything. 4 women every 1 second if you want, if 1 second is enough for you. Divorce 4, get a new 4. Divorce 4, get a new 4. And if any of those 4 disobey you, you beat the hell of her. And talking about beating kindly, as Muslims they claim, here we have a clear evidence of the ethic of Muhammad. When a woman, she came to Muhammad wife Aisha, and she complained about her husband beating her until he made her skin greener than her clothing. And this is Sahih Bukhari, very authentic story. So the woman, she was wearing a green veil, and then she showed to Aisha a green spot in her skin caused by beating. You can tell it's a very light beating, as Muslims they say. And it was the habit of ladies to support each other. So here the hadith saying, see, those ladies, they support each other even if they are wrong. Come on, you know, look at the ethical, look how they present the story for you. So when Allah Messenger came, Aisha, she told him the story, and then you can read the story. You will see the man, not only he took the side of the man, Muhammad, he never asked the man, why you did beat your wife. Actually, there's a hadith that says a man should not be asked about why he beat his wife. And not only Muhammad, he took the side of the man, which obviously the women, she don't want to sleep with him, which means he is beating her to rape her. Not only Muhammad, he took the side of the man, but he gave him a verse says beat them. And not only that, he said to her, if you want to go to your previous husband, you should know you cannot go back to his previous husband unless you taste his juice and he tastes your juice. And the Muslim here translated as, you cannot go back to Rifa. You cannot go back to remarry Rifa. Rifa is the previous husband, unless Abdul Rahman had, this is the translation, sexual intercourse with you. But the fact in Arabic, it doesn't say that. In Arabic, it says you cannot go back to your previous husband, because obviously this woman, she's trying to get back to her previous husband. She don't like this husband. You cannot get back unless حتى يذوق عسيلتك وتذوقي عسيلته. What does that mean? Until you taste his sexual juice, and you know what I'm talking about. If we go to dictionary, we will find it is orgasm. And he tastes your juice. This is the condition for a woman to go back to her husband. The new husband, and this is another morality failure in Islam. Where we can find this morality? In any which religion in the world it says if a woman she divorce her husband and her husband divorce her 3 times, she cannot go back to her previous husband unless she find a new husband and he do physical sexual intercourse. I'm trying to avoid using the F word because this is what it says in Arabic. Chapter 2 verse number 33. So chapter 2 verse number 2-3. If a husband he divorced his wife 3 times, she is not lawful for him, which means to come back to him, until she go and do sexual intercourse with the new husband. Have you ever heard of a cult come with such an idea? The man he divorced his wife. If Islam is against divorce, so why you make it so easy? Because all what the man he do, he said divorce, divorce, you are divorced, that's it. You do not even need to go to court. So why you made it so easy for them? And now the man he divorced the women 3 times, so the woman she can't go back to her husband unless she find a new guy to sleep with her, and then he have to taste her juice, and she tastes his juice. How ugly, how disgusting this language even to say. I apologize for saying it, but this is for educational purpose. This is exactly what it says. If you ask a Muslim about this, and you know, I debated tens of thousands of Muslims, not 100, not 1,000, not 2,000. They will say to you, well, here to teach the husband to behave so he will not abuse divorce. That is the most funny, stupid excuse ever. Because you want to teach the husband to behave by forcing the women to go to different husband. Who is the one will take off her clothes and sleep with a stranger now? It's the wife, it's not the guy. The guy is sitting home, he don't care. The woman, she want to go back because she have children from this man. She's not because of the man. We know what women are about. Women, they sacrifice for their children. The women, she stay with the husband who is ugly, disgusting with the behavior just because of the babies, not because of the man. So the women now, she want to go back to the husband who divorced her 3 times. Obviously he don't care, he's playing games. And now she have to find a new husband, and now the new husband have to sleep with her. Not only she marry him just like by papers, no, he have, as Muhammad we showed you in the hadith. And not only that, her future now is in the hand of the new husband. And this is what happened with this guy. This woman, she did marry this guy, obviously, who is a very old, hoping he will not sleep with her. But this man want to sleep with her, and she is refusing to sleep with him, hoping that he will divorce her so she can go back to her previous husband. And even the husband, who is the present husband now, he said that to Muhammad. He says, you know what, she want to go back to her previous husband. The women accuse him that he is sexually unable. The man, he says, by Allah, I'm very strong, I can satisfy her. But disobedient, she want to go back to Rif'ah. Do you see it? So now, if the Quran is a book which is giving solving a problem, as you see, the Quran is creating problems. The poor woman, she is desperately taking an action which is not right. She don't agree with to marry a new husband just to go back to the previous husband. And obviously, I don't think she is really in love with this Rif'ah. I think she want to go back to her babies. Where is the ethic and where is the wisdom in this? And now the Prophet, instead of taking, okay, says, look, listen, I know you have babies from this man, you want to go back to your children's. I mean, isn't it merciful of Allah, if he is God, to say to the women, no problem, he agreed to take you back, go back. It's not your fault anyway. It is the idiot who is abusing the marriage or the right of divorce. No. Instead of fixing the problem, we make it way more complicated and far away from ethic. Who in the world would like really to see his daughter divorced by a guy, and now she want to go back to the previous husband? She have to find a new guy, and she have to sleep with him for a couple of nights, or one night at least, so she can get back to the husband. Do you see how disgusting it is? And not only that, you see, when the Quran speak about being justice, and obviously the Quran fail with every way, what about Muhammad? When the Quran says marry 2 and 3, or I see I'm saying the word marry because supposedly it's about marriage, right? But it's not. The word Arabic doesn't say marry. But let us go with the word marry as the Muslims they use it, claiming that this is marriage. When the Quran says that the man he can have 2 and 3 and 4, and then you have to treat them equally, and then we find you in the same chapter all the way at the end, it says, and you will never be able to treat them equally. But guess what? Muhammad was a person who never treat his wife equally. And just to show you how Muhammad and his ethic work, this is how Muhammad, this is the view of Islam of women. The Prophet said the superiority of Aisha to other ladies is the like of the superiority of the thread, the tharid in Arabic is like a dish, is like rice, you know, it's like a rice. So he favor rice over other food. And this is how he compare women to women. He had many wives, and this is his favorite dish. Do you see the ethic? I mean, the ethic is dripping like rice. Muhammad, he could not find a way to describe his favorite wife except that she is a favorite dish. How humiliating and how insulting and how unethical. Women in Islam is a dish. You know, go to McDonald's, grab one. Oh, this McDonald's is better than this McDonald's. What is your favorite dish, my friend Abdullah? Which one of your wives is your favorite dish? And while the Quran says you cannot be justice, and the Quran says you cannot marry unless they are your justice, which is a contradiction, because how we can practice both now? The Quran says you will never be justice, and the Quran says you can have 2 and 3 and 4 to have sex with them if you can be justice. So how Muslim they practice? How Muhammad he have all those women? You will find the answer for that when you read the story of Muhammad. While the wives of Muhammad, they came to complain, they sent even his daughter to Muhammad, and they say, read carefully, this is Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih al-Nisa'i, Sahih all the Sahih books, and this is Sahih Hadith. So the Muslim cannot say this one is Sunan al-Nisa'i, this is Sahih, we can show it from Muslim, etc. The wives of the Prophet, they sent Zainab bint Jahsh. This is another ethical problem in Islam. Muhammad, he went, we will talk about it maybe later in different video, because this video will go forever. We're going to talk about the false ethic of Muhammad. So Zainab bint Jahsh was the wife of the adopted son of Muhammad, but because he became, as he claimed, in love with her, in love with married women, she is married to his own son, imagine. And then he made a verse in the Quran saying, Allah told him, why you hide what Allah he told you about what is in your heart for this woman? But the woman, she is married. And he went to her house and he said to her, and this is all the stories we are reading for you is written by Muslims' hands, and the Muslims, they praise those stories about how amazing the Prophet is. So he went to the wife of a married man who is his son by adoption, and he stood in the middle of the room. He says to her, Subhanallah mu'allif al-qulub, praise be to Allah, the one who flipped my heart for you. How dare you? And then Allah, He made a verse for him saying, take her. So now the wives, they knew that this guy, this is his new favorite wife. Aisha was always the favorite wife, right? So now they thought maybe this wife will make him, they will persuade him to change the injustice, because always he treat Aisha, as we said, she is his favorite dish. So they asked the new wife, who, because obviously he is desperate to have sex with her, maybe she can convince him, because this is the only competition we have now between with Aisha. So they asked her to go and speak to Muhammad. And look what she asked him for. She was somewhat equal to me in the rank. Aisha saying that somehow she is equal to me in the rank. Muhammad, he have ranks for his wives. Muhammad, he have a drill sergeant. If you serve in USA Army, you will know what a drill sergeant. Muhammad, he have a captain wife. Muhammad, he have a general wife. They have ranks. Yet the Muslim, they say the Quran says you have to treat them equally. And then in the eyes of the Messenger of Allah, and I have never seen a woman who is better in religious, so even Aisha, she is saying she's a great woman. And then look what happened. The woman, she came to him and she asked Muhammad to treat the other wives the same way you treat Aisha. Treat them equally. We are asking for justice. Read carefully. This is not my words. She said, she entered and she said, O Messenger of Allah, your wife have sent me to ask you to be equitable with regard to the matter of the daughter of Abu Quhafa. This is another name for Abu Bakr, which is the father of Aisha. Then she said she verbally abused me. So Zainab, she insulted Aisha at length, and I was watching the Messenger of Allah to see if he would allow me to respond. Look at this. Zainab bint Jahsh, until I realized that the Messenger of Allah would not disapprove it. Look at this. So Muhammad now enjoying two women fighting over him. And actually they are not fighting over him, they are fighting over gifts. Muhammad is a gang member who all the bribe they come to him when he is in the house of Aisha. Why? Because if Aisha, she heard that somebody sent a gift to the Muhammad when he is in the house of another wife, that means this wife, she will keep the gift. She will speak to Muhammad to disapprove his request. So everybody starts sending only because they knew that Muhammad is the one who favor Aisha. So they sent it only in the house of Aisha. So Aisha, she will approve the request by taking the gift. So now Muhammad, he is watching Aisha and Zainab insulting each other, screaming at each other until Aisha, she insulted enough. So if I respond, then I spoke back to her in such a way until I silenced her. And then the Messenger of Allah said, she is the daughter of Abu Bakr. Look at the evil man. Instead of saying, stop it, no need to fight, no, he is enjoying the show. And what is the request? They are all what they are asking for. Can we have equal treatment like Aisha? In different hadith, Muhammad is saying, no, you cannot. You cannot. She said, your wife have sent me to ask you. This is now the daughter of Muhammad, Fatima. They sent even his daughter. They sent everybody, ask him for justice. She said, your wife have sent me to ask you for justice regarding the daughter of Abu Quhafa, i.e. Aisha. He said, daughter, do you love what I love? She said, yeah. She said, didn't love this woman. He just told them this is his favorite dish. If Muhammad he loved Aisha, then why he is marrying as many as he wish? Here we go. You have a love. And if you love a woman, that's an excuse to not to be justice with the other wives. So Muhammad in the public, he says, be justice with your wife. And then when he go to his house, Muhammad far away from any kind of justice. How that can be from God? How that can be ethical? So now if I'm a married Muslim man, if I can call it marriage, because this is just a sexual contract, it's not marriage. The woman in Islam, she is a sexually employed, not a wife. This is why it's so easy to divorce her, and then anytime the employer can fire you. You are fired, you are fired, you are fired. That's it. Gone. You are temporarily employed. Not like in the Bible, the man and the women, they will become one. Not like in the Bible, where the Bible speak about love. We cannot find such a thing in the Quran. Where in the Quran it says the man he should love his wife? Because there's no wife in the Quran. There's employment. If we go in the Bible, we will find something very beautiful, very amazing about love and sacrifice.
Ephesians 4. I therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called, with all lowliness and meekness, with long-suffering, forbearing one another in love, endeavoring to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. There is one body, and one Spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling, one Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all. But unto every one of us is given grace, according to the measure of the gift of Christ. Wherefore he saith, when he ascended upon high, he led captivity captive, and gave gifts unto men.
The Bible is full of verses speaking about how the man and how the women, how the Lord himself described that the man should love his wife the same as the Lord the Christ he loved the church, which means the Bible he made the women equal to the church. The church with the Messiah gave his life for. Where is the love? Beat your wife, have as many. What about muta, which is very disgusting? Where is the ethical in that? When Muhammad he said, any man, any woman, they like to enjoy sexual activities. And here the Muslim, by the way, they say to you marriage. The hadith doesn't say anything about marriage. Here we go. This is the hadith in Arabic. I changed any Muslim to get me busted. It says, أيما رجل وامرأة توافقا فعشرة ما بينهما 3 ليال فإن أحبا أن يتزايدا أو يتتركا. Where is marriage? Any man and a woman, they like to have sexual relationship. They have to share a bed together. There's no marriage. So if any man and a woman, and here they add things which is unbelievable. Look, they put between 2 brackets to marry temporarily. Have you ever heard of any cult coming with such an ethical teaching? Is that really a marriage? How we can call this is a marriage? A prophet of God teaching his followers, his decent followers, you can, according to the translation, marry temporarily. For what? Just for sex. And this is godly teaching. And by the way, this is in the Quran, chapter 4, verse 24, where the Quran says you have to pay their wages for those who enjoy it. Enjoy what? Enjoy their private part. And here there's no, the word marriage does not appear, not even a second in the statement, as we see in front of us in the translation. So 3 days, 3 nights, if you like, maybe less, maybe 1 night, maybe 1 hour. And if they like to continue, then they can do so. And if they like to separate, they can do so. This is ethic. So God, he created man and women, so we can just have an agreement for 1 night, 2 night, and this is supposedly not adultery, and this is not a prostitution. By the way, she have to get paid, otherwise this is not allowed. The women, she have to get paid, which is officially prostitution. There's a few conditions for this relationship. Number one, the man, he offered the women to sleep with him for a certain amount, certain time, and then if she agree with the certain amount and certain time, then the contract is valid. So the agreement is very simple. The man, he go, let us say you are going in the elevator, you see a woman, you say, how much you charge me to stay with me for 2 hours? She say, for 2 hours exactly $10. If the man and the women agree in the terms and conditions, then they are, according to Islam, lawfully can go to the bedroom and have sex, and that is not against the teaching of Allah. And when the 2 hours is gone, there's no divorce. There's no divorce in this kind of relationship because they are not married. It's just a prostitution. So divorce is not exist. When the 2 hours is over, the alarm, you can set your alarm. You can use your Google, by the way, if you are in case practicing this. But Google, say, okay, Google, set alarm after 60 minutes. So when the 60 minutes started, from the time the women and the man take off their clothes, go to the bed. After 60 minutes, you do not need to divorce her because she never was your wife. And if the man, he died during this sexual relationship, the woman, she cannot inherit anything because she is not his wife. Because there's nothing. It's just a prostitution. And yet they say to us that Islam came to solve problems, and Islam came to ethic, as we see in this article. You know, a lot of ethic, I can see it, to teach us to distinguish between moral and immoral, ethic and unethical, good and evil. What a hilarious ethical we are talking about. I'm not going to stay longer. This video, I think, is enough to cover this topic, and tomorrow we will, I hope tomorrow we'll come back again with a new topic. And as you see, the number of viewers drop dramatically because we don't have a chat. And this is what exactly I want. I don't want people who they are coming here for chat to be with us. Let them go. They are just troublemakers. They are not real. They are not serious. They are just here for fun, chit chat. I am not your coffee shop, and I am not here to entertain you. Go watch TV. Here we share education, and we try to help people with the understanding, so nobody can be deceived. Our purpose is bigger than spending some time saying hi, hello to your friends. And actually, I like this idea not to have the chat on because it makes me able more to concentrate on my topic without disturbing. However, anytime there's a Muslim who would like to call us and debate us, please feel free. 99.9% of the time I go live on air, I have my Skype open, and you can call me live on air, and I will be happy to have you. Or if you have a Muslim scholar, you can post a comment, says he will call you in the day of etc. I will just do live broadcast just for this guy so he can call me. I will be happy to have him. Doesn't matter how big the scholar, how small he is, as long as he think he is a scholar, well, let us show him how scholarly he is. Because I never met any Muslim he can really claim to be a scholar. Muslims are the last one to know what Islam is about. Especially more than 95% of them don't speak Arabic. Big articles, big words, but when you go and see the details, you will find that there's no ethic, no ethical, and everything they say in their article does not exist. Big word, justice, ethic, moral, morality, good, evil. When Islam teach exactly the opposite. And the funny, here he says, the book help to make Muslims with their ethical choice in their daily life. Maybe I should make a video about this one, because in Islam you don't have a choice. Muslim, they believe in predestiny, where Allah, He made you do things you like it or not, and that what will make you go to hell or to heaven. So every single sentence in this article is a fabrication. It is not real, and it is not ethical. Because is it ethical to lie, to say to us Islam teach morality? Where is the morality? Here we go. From all what we showed you, where is the morality? I will never accept that beating women is moral. Actually, men who beat women, obviously they need a doctor. Not only they have a moral problem, they have mental issues. Not only they have anger management, they need mental management. Because when a man he start beating somebody to obey, that's mean I am allowing people to dictate violently each other. And then the strong, he will take advantage of the weak, and the big fish will eat the small fish, and yet they call it ethic. So because the woman, she is weak physically, I take advantage of her weakness physically, and then I beat her. And actually the Quran make it even more horrible when he says, because men, they spend their money. Because men, they spend their money on women, this is why you can beat them. So the Quran making spending money in the wife not a duty, but it's a reasoning to be superior. It is not a duty because you love your wife to spend in your wife and your family. No. If you want to earn the right to beat your wife, to be superior, and that's what make her wife anyway. The second she became a wife, you became superior. But how you earn this superiority? Is that by being good? Is that by being loving? Is that by being responsible? No, because you spend it from your wealth on them. This is a prostitution, my friend. A man, he hired a prostitute because he's an evil man. He beat her because he thinks she's down. She's no one. She accepts money for sex. He humiliate her. He have no respect for her. And this is what Islam exactly teaching you. How this can be from God. Thank you for watching. May the Lord bless you. Don't forget to download the video and share it with your friends. And for sure, if you like our channel, subscribe. And if you don't like, please unsubscribe, because I don't care. I am here to share the truth, and the truth will set us free. This is the wisdom of my Lord, nothing of my own. Love your wife, my friend. And the man who uses violence against women, he is no man. He's a coward. He's a potato. He is literally mental. Violence can be used only to defend yourself from an evil act will harm your life. Shouldn't be used in any way against anyone. So how in the world you dare even to use it against a woman? She agreed to marry you, to share with you the same roof, the same food. How dare you to kiss her at night, you beat her in the morning? How dare you to show such an act in the front of your children? How dare you to be fool like this and to follow such a book? God is wise, and God did not create the women to be beaten by the man, but to make a family. If we go in the book of Genesis, you will see how the books explain that go and multitude each other. We have a purpose of this marriage. We have a purpose of this union. The man, he will leave his family, and there will be one, not two. There will be echad. It's a unity of a body, unity of a spirit, and unity of a target, and unity of life. in Islam, making the women just another piece of furniture. We can break it anytime. We can throw it out anytime. She is there just to be used and abused. And this is no way that can be from God. Thank you very much for being here. May the Lord bless you. And until we see you again, Christ is Lord, Islam is false. And may the Lord show us the truth. And again, the truth will set us free. Take care.